Okay, let's do this again. All right, just give me 1 second.
Mhm. It's overheating devices.
Okay, all right, that was weird. Um, my phone, everything just started overheating and it just stopped. And it was interesting because I felt like I was at the in the heat of the moment. Um, anybody remember what was the what okay, so shit. All right, anybody? You remember? Um, so the things about our unconscious programming. Uh, that's- sorry about that, guys. Okay,
I'm not remembering that body.
yeah. The whole thing was about I'm not my mind, I'm not my body. The last thing I heard was I'm not my mind. Okay, cool, cool. All right. Well, all right, cool. So, uh, Erminok, you were saying, I mean, this is a byproduct of the simulation, right? And that's for me, from my experience, is very factual. Um, but the simulation is a cooperation between me or I and something else. I'm not ready to talk about what that is because I'm still not in the fence. I'm still in the fritz of understanding what that is, right? So, um, okay, I'll put a fan behind my video stuff. So let's see. Thank you, Chelsea. Um, so there is a lot. Everything I'm sharing is from personal experience, and personal experience not just through psychedelics and meditation and Kundalini stuff that I didn't even know I was doing or anything like that. But um, okay, so my oxytocin, my biological stuff, right? The unconscious. It's really important, in my opinion, to understand the unconscious. Unconscious holds the just like the iceberg, right? This line is water, the surface up here, air, right? Water. This is the one, two, three D, three, in my opinion, 3D is on the line with 4D, right? Mercury, always the god of liminality, the liminal space, right? So, I'll bring this closer. So, this is an iceberg consciousness, very small percentage of your reality. Subconscious, the majority, the thing that actually moves reality for you. What you're conscious of is because of the subconscious, the unconscious. It's not because of consciousness. Consciousness just brings it into reality. That's it, through belief systems, right? Where your unconscious believes, your consciousness experiences. That's it. That's it. Everything happens down here, but it happens to you up here. That's it. Sun, consciousness. Moon, unconscious, right? Cool. You got an understanding of that, right? So, um, let's see. So, oxytocin. I keep talking about oxytocin. And the reason I bring up oxytocin is because it is a binder, it is a glue, it is a magnet. Here's the thing, even if I don't know what I want to attract to, it is just a magnet that doesn't follow the normal scientific laws of magnetism. You don't need to be positive to attract negative or anything like that. It is a need, a biological, unconscious need to uh, create cohesion. That's it. Even if the cohesion is not for you, even if it's um, lies, manipulation for the worst, right? It's not working in your favor. The unconscious realm is not doing this to you. It's just data. That's it. It's metadata. Uh, thank you for everyone that showed up again. Um, I had a little bit of a temperature thing going on, but yeah. So the unconscious biological processes, they seek to create safety, and they're seeking safety, even if it's through an abusive partner or um, a lying job or organization or government or society or whatever. It doesn't matter. Its job is to connect you to everything that it knows. That's it. So, um, I'm going to be talking about, and I have in the past, computer technology as a metaphor for these processes. Now, I do not believe that the mind is a computer. I also don't believe that the brain is a computer because even with quantum computers, our brain exceeds what a quantum computer can do. We still cannot do what the brain can do. Now, the brain is kind of stupid in the sense of intelligence is not held within the brain. Smartness, being smart in school, that's brain function. Um, Repeating what you learned, that's a brain function, right? Memory. Um, Thinking for yourself is intelligence. Intelligence, in my opinion, is a mind thing, right? It's the Mercury. Mercury is not the brain, it's the mind, right? Very different from each other. So, me, for example, I never got a degree, and I got in trouble in school because it took me 20 years and a lot of drugs to understand I was intelligent, not smart. I could repeat the data, but if I don't care, I'm not going to repeat it, right? And intelligence is an intelligent person thinks for themselves, but we're not taught how to think for ourselves. So if you're not taught to think for yourself and you are constantly given awards, trophies, star stickers, sun stickers on your forehead for the day for repeating things like a parrot, you're smart. That's not bad, but it's not intelligence. If you're smart and you don't know how to think for yourself, then you're just part of the program. That's it. There are people who are conscious souls in this reality. There are souls that I sometimes confuse for NPCs, non-playable characters, because they repeat shit that comes from the material realm. I've also noticed this with individuals that are in the spiritual scene, then they're in the shamanic scene. They've taken ayahuasca 36 times, whatever the fuck, right? They made this thing in the lab. They know how to transmute lead to gold because they forced something, whatever. Not, I've met certain individuals and I'm like, I don't say anything to them. I don't want to touch my reality like that, but it's like, where's the intelligence? You know how to repeat, uh, recipes, you know how to repeat constructs, you know how to repeat programs. But where, like, I want to know what you actually think, and that's where they glitch out. They don't know how to fucking talk about the thing themselves. So, anyway, um, so now we move from the material, which is actually just the outcome, the reception of the immaterial, the psyche, the mind, right? So now that we enter the mind or the psyche, we can go back again to I'm not my mind. I'm not my body. I am not my thoughts. I am not my feelings slash sensations. I'm not my beliefs. I'm not my perceptions. I'm not my perspectives. I am not my ethnicity. I am not my race. I am not my gender. I am not my job slash income. I am not my money. I am not my parents or the lack thereof. I am not my genetics. I am not. my ancestors. That's a big one right now nowadays. I am not my ancestors. I am not my politics, etc., etc. All right. Remember when I was saying before our last video got cut off because of temperature? Um, so you got your subconscious programming, right? You have what your brain came here with, and what your mind, your subconscious or your unconscious came here with. It came here with a preset OS, operating system, right? Computer language, right? So, because as a baby coming into the matrix, I cannot create something. I have to be part of something, right? Just like dreams. You don't wake up being born out of a vagina, you are in the middle of something, right? This dream is your main dream. Even if you cheat on her by going to other dimensions and shit like that, that is your main squeeze. That's your main girl or boy. It is your main one. This one is your main one. Monogamous relationship with this reality. Always, right? You always come back here. Even if you come back changed, altered, broken, it doesn't matter. You always come back here. Always. Neuroprogramming need a biochemical support. Right. So you already had, so Ermanach just said neuroprogramming needs a biochemical support, right? Your brain is constantly interacting with biochemistry, just chemistry, chemicals in general. Whether it's your neurons, your red blood cells, right, white blood cells, it doesn't matter. These things are constantly interfacing with chemicals, always. Now, I'm not quite ready to go into it right now. It's going to be a while before I can, but chemicals themselves are, I consider chemicals, each compound as its own entity. Now, when I use the word entity, I use it in the same mainframe of um, Ra, Odin, Loki, Isis, right? Yeah, that's what I mean by entity. It is not a non, it is not a non, it is a non-living form, but it is a form because it is existent, but it holds data, metadata within that faction on its own, right? This is where we get conversations of correspondence, right? You can correspond these gods, goddesses, deities, entities, demons, it doesn't matter. But to me, they are compounds, they're chemical compounds that you can engage and interact with, right? And the planets too. But we do this weird thing where we forget that we created these things in order for those things to. I just killed a fruit fly. We interact with these things and we forget that we created them, or that someone or something created them for us, right? So we worship them, or we're afraid of them, right? Or we offer sacrifices to them. So we forget that they're mine, they're yours, right? So Ra is an emanation and manifestation of a chemical story, right? Um, there's Horus, right? The third eye, and then there's Osiris, and there's Isis, and blah, blah, blah. But you can correspond those not just to the seven chakras, but to the chakras that are non physical and beyond, right? So we have dominion and power over not just the chemicals, but the chemicals that we interact and engage with. They are not our leaders. They are not powerful without our attention. They only exist because we give them credence, we give them permission because we create them. Now, even though Raven didn't create the Egyptian gods, I did create the Egyptian gods before I was Raven, if you believe in past, present, and future, right? But Raven did not create those. But Raven has it's been hard, but Raven has come to the understanding that I have created these chemical structures, these compounds, the same way that you find compounds in essential oils, the same way that you find chemical structures within like our neurological processes, right? Dopamine, serotonin, right? All these things, oxytocin, everything. Think of them as a little god. Think of them as a little deity, a little demon, whatever the fuck you want to call them. But we're all saying the same thing, right? So they're all synonyms for the same thing, correspondent to the same things, right? You can alter, you can direct these things. And if they're not serving you, you can delete them. Just because I went to the temple of blah, 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 and I turned on the operating system of a certain thing, right? Or let's see, I'm going to use certain lingo. I went to the temple of the Great Pyramid and I did a ritual. And in this ritual, I decided to invoke, right, within me. So I gave it permission to speak through me, to think through me, to act through me, right? Or evoke. I don't give you permission to come inside of me, but I give you permission to exist, right? Whether invoke or evoke, I go to the Great Pyramid, Big Pyramid, and I consecrate the space or I write down, right, the initial data, right, to make this thing come into fruition, into the operating system, right? An idea comes before a video game on a computer, right? So now Ra, or where the fuck, comes through. If I am not aware that I am creator or co-creator, I am not co-creating with Ra or whoever else. I'm co-creating with something that I still don't understand, but I know this, I feel it, I understand it. So for now, what I'm going to do is keep myself at the helm, at the wheel of the ship. I am in control. Not Set, not Anubis. I'm in control. I created Ra and Anubis and everything to help me understand abstractions of the unconscious, which has no structure. And it's waiting for me to structure it. That's it. Do you think we can regenerate and or structure and strengthen these programs with different substances and remaining mind reconstructive or just all of it? Is there anything more, I guess, important? I think it's all important. Some things more important than others. Um, the thing is, there were programs or things that were created before you, the character, the persona, came here. So you have to be able to stay in your realm or position of power, and these things will test you. They will test your psychological, psychospiritual immunity to succumb to them because they have been put in power, right? People have sacrificed children, family members, blah blah blah. Their jizz, they have sacrificed things they to empower this thing to become their servants. You're becoming a servant to the robot that you created, and that's what they are. They're just robots. They're AI, right? You created them, whether you remember who you are or not. You, not the character, but you, the persona, have created these things in order for many fucking reasons. But they allow for more layering into your performance, into your reality, right? Layering as a thing with editing, CGI, you know what I mean? By layering, like it's not just two-dimensional or three-dimensional. You can layer things. You can create multiple dimensions in the three-dimensional. You know what I mean? CGI. Um, what I'm talking about is how you can be the head honcho, the big bitch, the big priestess, the big priest of your reality. You know? And okay, so back to my notes because um, running out of time. I'm running out of time. But okay, so I want to give you an example of two different types of OS systems. You have Apple, Mac, right? So I'm not I have Mac, I have Apple products, right? I also have Windows and Linux products. Now what that is your OS, your operating system, right? Apple creates operating systems that is mainly directed towards individuals who aren't aware and or interested in doing what they want. So they create the security, the apps, the beautiful display systems, right? So it's not 8-bit, 16-bit, 32, 38-bit, whatever. It looks nice, it looks clean. They did all the work for you. And you just unconsciously trust them to take care of everything else, right? Other operating systems like Linux, love Linux. I'm learning Linux right now. So Linux, and there's Windows too. You can run Linux through Windows, but people who use those operating systems are learning a different language of computation, of computing, where I don't need what's on my screen to be pretty. I'm okay with raw data. I have an objective. I have a prerogative. I have somewhere that I need to go, something that I need to attain. So this is why hackers don't use Apple products. They mainly use Windows, but most of them, right, like Linux or if you're if you're really good, Kali Linux, Kali like the goddess Kali. But Kali Linux is don't download it unless you know what the fuck you're doing. But you can learn Linux. So it's learning computer language that allows you to be part of the operating systems and development. So you know what you're doing. And this goes into the conversation of, well, let's see, hold on. Our reality has been controlled in ways where we need to participate unconsciously with our conscious will in order to perpetuate other programs. So remember, you were born with a preset unconscious system that allows you to be born somewhere in a place, in a reality, right? It can't be blank because you don't know what you're doing. It's like an Apple system that you were born into. Everything's here, all the data's here, right? Cool. Um, and we do this willingly. So here's the thing: a lot of people who hear about the the idea of will or free will, they fall. Some people fall into this trap of, well, I didn't give my free will, as if free will is just permission, right? Free will is attention. That's how you give permission for things to be. That's it. That's free will is through my attention, I give power to. It's a ritual that you didn't know about. You didn't know about it because you're not supposed to know about it. Why aren't you supposed to know about it? Because there have been things in the simulation or the reality or the dream that have been running the show for so long that I want to give them the benefit of any doubt and go, like the elites, I think they genuinely believe that we're too stupid to know how to operate and run and be in this reality. So because they innocently think that we cannot do it, they think that they should be in charge and that they should run the simulation. No judgment there. I'm not saying that that's how it is. I'm just saying that I'm not judging it because if I judge it, I'm missing something. I'm losing something. I'm not aware of something if I think that someone or something or some family or whatever the fuck is at fault. And if you think that something is at fault, You miss the point. You don't get the fucking point, right? So I have judged those things, whether they're reptilians or drone zetas, tall whites. I did because I didn't know. I didn't know. The minds, the brain's mechanisms, chemical, neurological mechanisms are to blame something so we can move away from it, be part of it, whatever the fuck, right? Cool. So, um, your perception, your perspective is your opinion. Your perspective is your opinion. Your perceptions are deeper than that, though. They're the ones that you're not aware of, right? These came from your mother and or father. They came from your school, your peers, your religion, if you had any, right? Spiritual practice. Maybe your parents were santeros, or they were pagans. It doesn't matter. Your perceptions are ingrained, both biological and societal or environmental. Um, so if you don't know, that doesn't mean that you don't use your free will to be part of something. You use your free will to do, to partake, to be part of something. Do you think you can detox neurons somehow? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You get off your phone. Yeah. I'm just responding to questions. Get off, detoxing your neurons. Well, it's not so much that your neurons need to be detoxed. What's receiving, right? Your neurons act as the mercury between this and that, right? So it's just doing research on what you're flooding your brain with. That's it. Your neuroreceptors, right? You got serotonin, dopamine, right? Like you have all these things. Think about where you're giving them to. That's it. You give them to people, pornography, drugs, alcohol, food, TV, people, religions, spirituality. Like you give neurological, chemical, neurochemical stimuli to these things, right? So if you want to detox from them, it would be sacrificing or offering, right? That's what I do when I go through my I fast. I'll stay away from food for several weeks. I'll stay away from drugs, alcohol, and everything for several weeks, right? Because I'm offering a sacrifice, not to something else, but to my being. I'm gonna sacrifice food for 3 weeks. I really like food. I'm gonna sacrifice jerking off for a month. I'm gonna sacrifice eating meat, or I'm gonna sacrifice eating food, anything, whatever it is, in exchange for awareness. That's it, right? Um, and that's, I mean, now we're touching into the conversation of magic and ritual, right? You're constantly performing rituals all the time. Every fucking day, you're part of a ritual, right? You have your ritual where you wake up, you brush your teeth, take a shit shower, shave, right? Whatever the fuck. Do your workout, have your coffee, your nootropics. It's your ritual, right? Like you have this. When you set an alarm to wake up in the morning and go to work, that's a ritual, right? And then that's the ritual that you set, and then there's your ceremony, your actual performance of the ritual itself. All right? Yeah. So, um, you give your will because you give attention, and your attention is power. The Matrix didn't talk about this, but they like alluded to it. What you give attention to is what you give power and life to. If you pay attention to it, if you think about it, if you believe that you see it, then it exists and you give it form, you give it life. Or if it already has form and life, you just give it more power, more energy, like a battery. You're connecting your circuits to the circuits of that thing, and it has power. That's it. If it has power over you, because you allowed it, because not allowed it, it's a coalition between allowing via giving. That's it. You connect to the circuits of this belief, this thoughts, this structure, this thing, and those are the ways, the avenues, the pathways in which those things continue to exist, right? And I will say this is the conversation of Christ consciousness, right? So Christ wasn't a dude. Christ is a state of awareness. That's it. Uh, if you achieve Christ consciousness, then yeah, you're aware. There is no evil. There is no good. There is no alive. There is no dead. I don't exist. There is no non existence. I am that I am, and that's the best that I can do without fucking my everything up, right? Cool. So, I hope that this makes sense, right? All this stuff that we believe that I am my mind, my body, my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings, my sensations, my beliefs, my perceptions, my perspectives, my ethnicity, my race, my gender, my job slash income, my money, my parents or lack thereof, my genetics, my ancestors, my politics, all those things operate simultaneously between the conscious, mostly the unconscious realms, right? You're not a Christian, even if you follow Christianity. You're not a Jew. You're not. You're not Islamic. You're not like you're not these things. They're just systems that you have abided by. That's it. You're not these things, right? So you're not American. You're not Puerto Rican, you're not Dominican, you're not Haitian, you're not French, you're not you're not these things. But you're also not human. You're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your brain, you're not your thoughts, right? This is a mantra. I don't go through this mantra anymore, but I went through this mantra for like 8+ years because old factions of the unconscious fall back into that place that I am that thing. And I go, whoa, where's that reaction coming from? Oh, something in my unconscious still believes that I am any of this shit and more. And I'm not. I'm not. And remember, the reason that we're going through this, and I'm repeating it over and over again because it's important to have this foundational understanding of what the fuck I'm going to keep talking about in the next few weeks. All right. So, okay. So then what? What do you do with this? Let's say it's been a few months. You've done whatever you need to do to program that you're not these things. And when there's a reaction from those things that you're not, you know how to go, no, bitch, I'm not that. You don't judge it. You just go, no, bitch, moving on. Right? Next topic, next conversation. Then what? Well, the point is to create ground zero, nothing. In the sense of it feels uncomfortable. It feels like you smoked a bunch of DMT. It feels like you took a shit ton of mushrooms. It feels like I can't talk on ayahuasca because everybody that I've met, they're all fucked up and programmed. But anyways, it's like, well, ground zero is what? It's liminality. It's the liminal space. It's the line of the iceberg, right? This line right here. Water, water, air, water, right here. The liminal space. Liminal space is interesting and terrifying because the liminal space has no structure. The liminal space is not the unconscious, but it feels like it. The liminal space starts to bring forth everything unconscious potentiality and it allows you to walk through the pathway or the door of creation. That's what the liminal space is, right? So I think what I'm gonna do, this is gonna be my last topic. We'll take it we'll pick it up after this next Wednesday. But what I'm doing, what I've been doing, and what I want to share with you guys, just give it a thought, is hacker. Okay? Not pirate, not criminal thief, Although Mercury is the god of those things, right? Um, a hacker. Okay. So I wrote down several definitions of hacker. So hacker is an expert at programming and solving problems with computers. Now, the brain is not a computer, but computers were emulated after the brain, even if we did it unconsciously. Right? Cool. So, two, a person, a hacker is a person who illegally gains access to and sometimes tampers with information on computer systems. Everything that I've been talking about is equivalent to computer systems, right? So, a hacker is also a skilled person in information technology who achieves goals and solves problems by non standard means. So, everything that you have ever fucking thought about and learned is a standard fucking mean. Think about it. A religion, a spiritual practice, right? How to approach certain drugs, whether it's hypnosis, right? It doesn't matter. A skilled person in information technology who achieves goals and solves problems by non-standard means. So what I've been working on and why I got so quiet for the last few years and why I'm coming out right now, it's not that I'm ready to give you guys any answers because I don't have any answers even for myself, but I have some understandings and I want to share them. And when you're taught how to do something, it's under the structure of that system. That's it. Smart people do very well by following the rules and so on. Intelligent people can sometimes blow themselves up in a lab, or they can not get the fucking Nobel Peace Prize, but then 30, 100 years later, they give them the Peace Prize because they were the one motherfucker. You were the one motherfucker who thought for themselves, right? A hacker thinks for themselves. So there is a security encrypted blah blah blah. A hacker goes in and knows how these systems work, right? That's the smart part. It knows how to repeat it. But a hacker knows how to think for themselves. And when a hacker thinks for themselves, they will do everything and anything in their power to think outside their own box, which is uncomfortable. That's why a lot of them are like kind of autistic and shit because they're not so caught up in their fucking emotions. That's a whole other conversation, right? But I'm not saying that you have to be autistic to do this. I'm not autistic. I admire, certain friends that I have that are on the spectrum. They show me that like you can really think outside the box, but not be completely ungrounded and actually make something, do something with it, right? So the other definition is someone who's able to subvert computer security. And okay, so your unconscious mind has a lot of security programs. These security programs, like I was mentioning before, probably in the first part of the life, um, these security programs protect you from the unknown. That's pretty much it, honestly. That's really pretty much it. They protect you from what you don't know. That's it. This reality is a system of codes, laws of nature, and laws of men. Two subsets of codes, right? Our bodies, its system, our brain, its interfaces, and our minds operate within their own preset codes. All can be hacked. Everything and anything can be hacked. You want to hack alchemy? You can hack it. You can hack it. You don't have to fucking abide by all the rules of alchemy to attain the stone. You don't have to fucking abide by the rules of Buddhism to, obtain nirvana. You don't. But you should be aware that every system that tells you that the outcome of this system, if you make it to the end, is full self realization, full remembrance. You should be aware of the fact that there are disciplines and time Maybe not as much time. Maybe I don't need 3 lifetimes and 80 years to make the Philosopher's Stone, right? Maybe I don't need to spend 40 years doing pranayamas to achieve nirvana. But you do need time to integrate whatever the fuck you come across, right? Let's see. Everything can be hacked. Now and I'm gonna keep bringing up hacker, and that's what I'm at. I'm a hacker. Whether it's computer, spiritual, psycho-spiritual, psychological, biological, neurological, everything about my fucking being is a fucking hacker. So, one more time, real quick, just like I repeated, these guys over here, right? A hacker is an expert at programming and solving problems with computers. 2, a person who illegally gains access to and sometimes tampers with information on computer systems. A skilled person, 3, a skilled person in information technology who achieves goals and solves problems by non-standard means. And 3, someone who is able to subvert computer security systems in your subconscious and your consciousness and your physical reality, your friends, your family, the alchemical group that you're part of, or the Breatharian group, or the fucking Palladian group you're part of, or the Brotherhood, or the cults, or the Coven of Witches that you're part of. When you start to think for yourself, you're going to be before you get ostracized, you're gonna be challenged. They're gonna put this security system because the security system protects itself, just like your brain's biological stuff. Security systems protects itself from change because change is unknown. Systems that you abide by, systems that you agree to, they have security systems. That's part of what makes them they have a container. That container makes them Rosicrucian, Freemason, Thelema. It doesn't matter. These systems have security walls that allows that security wall is like an illusion that allows the system to believe that it is what it is. It does not welcome intruders and it does not welcome free thinkers. That's why we're in a new place with alchemy. All right, Ermenach said, bending reality, which is unreality, is the first sign of self-awareness. Philosopher's Stone is the forgotten key, right? But there's so many pathways to the Philosopher's Stone, right? Or distractions, because man, most of the writing that we have for self-awareness, whether it's through alchemy or Buddhism or whatever, they've been manipulated, right? Buddha said, "Don't worship me, follow the path," right? Jesus of Nazareth, who became Christ or achieved Christ consciousness, said, "Don't worship me. You are me. I am you. Follow the path." But then some guys with money or the fuck or power or weapons, they were like, no, this is how you do it, and that's it. If you don't do it this way, you'll never achieve anything. And they create distractions. They create illusions. And that's why we're over here stuck. Fucking, I've processed gold in 8 different fucking ways. And I'm like, wait, this is a fucking distraction. Like the whole fucking thing. And it's like, maybe not the whole fucking thing, but it's a maze, right? But it's a labyrinth. If you can hack your way through it, your maze of your reality becomes a labyrinth. Labyrinths are not mazes, and mazes are not labyrinths. They're 2 very different things. Mazes have a beginning and end and all this bullshit. A labyrinth feels your mind, your brain starts to go through the bullshit of, oh no, I gotta give up. And some people actually go back to the beginning of the labyrinth. How do they find themselves there? Labyrinth can always take, it's one direct path, but it's so squiggly, right? It's like 3 miles between here and here, right? This is 1 mile between start and finish. But Labyrinth does this. It's like 18 miles just to get to the, to that one point. A maze, man. A maze can still be 1 mile, but there's just traps and distractions and all this shit. So here we are. Um, I'm gonna cut it short. Probably not even cutting it short, but um, I really hope that between this and the last video that got cut off, which was from today, that this stuff gets ingrained into your fucking consciousness because you're not any of this fucking shit. You're not. You're not. You're not. You're not. And some of you pretend that you already know this, but you don't fucking. It's not a part of your fucking everyday. We get caught up in this shit. And I'm not calling you out like I'm judging. I'm calling you out because I already fucking like I know. Sometimes I forget because I do have a biological brain and I do have an unconscious and I do have a mind that's still working things out. I haven't figured it out. If I figure it out, I don't even know if I fucking be here talking to you guys about it. I don't know if I want to get crucified. But I am here sharing what the fuck I've come up with, and it's taken this amount of time that it has because I'm working through my own shit. Honestly, I'm really working through my own shit. I love you guys. I like you guys. I like some of you. I love all of you though. Um, DM me, send me a message if you want to talk about this, in depth, in person or over a phone call, whatever. And yeah, let's do this next Wednesday, every fucking Wednesday. Fuck it. Fuck it. I can make the time. I can make the time. I'm gonna make the time. I'm making the time. I love you guys. Ciao. Peace.